Welcome to my channel. In this video, we will understand and solve the programming question that comes in paper 2 of both IGCSE and O-level computer science. So let's dive in. Don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Study with Ness. The very first thing is to read the question once and highlight or underline the main points that you can find in the given scenario. The question is talking about a two-dimensional array named account that has account holders' names and passwords, and a second array named account details, which has three columns. The first column holds the amount in the account. An example of 250 is given. The second column holds the overdraft limit, or in other words, how much amount can be borrowed when the amount reaches zero. The example of 100 is given. And finally, the third column that holds the withdrawal limit, the amount that can be withdrawn in one transaction. And an example of 200 is given. Some additional details that the amount can be negative if the account holder borrows, but cannot be more than the overdraft limit. The question then gives some directions that there needs to be some suitable error messages if the withdrawal cannot happen. This would be in case of low amount in first column or overdraft amount exceeds or withdrawal limit is hit. Some more details. The bank account ID is same as the index where details for each account holder is kept. There is a variable size that holds how many accounts exist, and some instructions that all the data has been stored already. Now comes what should be in the program. First, check whether account ID exists or not. Name and password entered by the account holder should match the data in the array account. This is the first thing that needs to be done. Second, if the name and password match, the menu should be displayed. Third, the menu option needs to be selected, and each menu must be in a procedure with the parameter account ID. Some more instructions. The program can be made in pseudocode or program code and should include comments. The additional arrays and variables used in the main program or the procedures can be declared. And in the end, some clarification that global arrays account details, and the variable size should not be declared. Let's start sketching the program. Something to keep in mind. In every paper, Cambridge gives these blank pages that can be used for rough sketching. In this paper, you can find 2 blank pages. Let's read and make the rough sketch now. The first array is a 2D array named account that holds names and passwords. Let's say the first account holder is Joe and his password is 123. Second is Bob with the password ABC, and this keeps on going. The second array is again a 2D array, account details. The first column holds the balance, second has the overdraft limit, and the third has the withdrawal limit. Let's sketch it now. The values can be 250, 100, and 200 exactly as the example. The second row can be 70 for balance, 100 for overdraft limit, and 150 for withdrawal limit. And similarly, there would be more rows. The balance can be negative, but not more than the overdraft limit. So let's consider that a holder named Matt with password XYZ has minus 50 balance, 100 overdraft limit, and 100 as withdrawal limit. An example is given of account ID 20, that the index number would be the same as account ID. Let's consider Joe to be the account ID 1, Bob 2, and Matt 20. And as we do not know how many total rows there are, let's assume it goes till n. Same goes for account details. N would actually be in the variable size. Hence, we do not need to worry about the exact number of accounts. And the data has already been set to the arrays and the variable. Let's start making the program now. For the question, I would suggest to write the program with a pencil first, as you might need to make the changes And when you are done with everything, then you can do it with a pen. There are more than 2 pages given for this question. And remember, the program needs to fit in the space given. I'll be starting with the main program, therefore starting to make the program from the second page, as procedures should be before the main program. Only the local array and variables need to be declared. Let's put in the comment of declarations. The first point says that the account ID should exist. So this is going to be our first variable as to be declared with the data type integer, as it holds index number. There might be some more variables that I might be declaring later, so I'll leave some gap in data type to fit those variables. Then the name and password should match the data in the array account. These will be entered by the account holder, so declaring them as well. Keeping the names meaningful and the data type would be string, asking the account holder for his ID, which would be stored in the variable account ID. And as the point says that the account ID should exist, let's use a conditional statement here. We can see in our sketch that the first account would be 1 and the last account would be n, which is in the variable size. The condition would check if account ID is less than 0 or account ID is greater than size. This means that the account does not exist and an error message should be displayed. The account is not found. In the else of the conditional statement, meaning that the account exists, we will be asking the name and password of the account holder and see if it matches the data in the array account. By using if, we will check from the account array if the account ID, also the index number or the row where the account holder details would be, matches the name in column 1 and password in column 2. If they are the same, the next step is to display the menu using separate print statements so that each menu option comes on a separate line, followed by the user input, which would be an integer from 1 to 4. Hence, case of otherwise can be used to check which menu option has been entered. For 1, we will call the display balance procedure. And as point 4 mentions, the procedure will have the parameter account ID, sending account ID as the argument. Similarly, for 2, calling withdrawal procedure with the argument account ID. For 3, calling deposit with the argument account ID. And finally, 4 will be calling the exit procedure. Here we do not need to send any value. And otherwise, we can have an error message in case the user does not enter the option from the menu. Here we can end our if by displaying an error message if the account holder's credentials do not match. And that is it. This is our entire main program. Now coming to procedures. Let's add in another comment that the procedures are starting from here. Our first procedure is display balance with the parameter account ID, having the data type integer as only numbers will be received. This procedure will just display the balance from the array account details at row account ID and column 1, which holds the balance. Let's make the comment more meaningful, adding another comment for withdrawal procedure. The procedure accepts account ID as our previous procedure. Here we will declare another local variable for the amount that needs to be withdrawn of data type integer, asking the account holder to enter the amount. Now some error message should be displayed if the withdrawal cannot take place, and an example is also given, keeping in mind that the withdrawal amount cannot exceed the overdraft limit. If it is greater than the limit in column 3 of the account details array, display an error message. Else we need to check if the user has already borrowed the amount. Taking the example where balance is -50 and the overdraft is 100, if we add them up, the account holder can still borrow 50 for account ID 20. In our program, we will check if the amount entered by the account holder is less than or equal to the amount after calculating if the withdrawal is possible by adding the amounts in column 1 and column 2. If it is, the account holder can collect the amount, and the amount withdrawn must be subtracted from the balance. Else, we can display that the balance is not sufficient, ending our conditions as well the procedure. Adding another command for a third procedure, deposit money. Accepting account ID as a parameter, declaring a local variable for the amount, and asking the user to enter the amount to deposit. Here we will simply add the amount into the balance, which is in column 1 of the array account details. And that is all for this procedure. Finally, adding the command for our exit procedure. This procedure does not have any parameter, and simply we will be displaying thank you. And that is all we have in this program. Now, to check if our program works, let's do a dry run. Assuming that the account holder enters 20 for account ID, the if becomes not true and else gets executed. Matt is entered for name and XYZ for password. The if becomes true, and on the output screen, the menu gets displayed. Let's say that the account holder enters 2. Withdrawal procedure gets called and 20 gets passed to the procedure. Let's say that the account holder wants to withdraw 100. Our first condition becomes not true as the amount does not exceed the limit, hence else executes. In else, the condition becomes not true as the amount is not less than or equal to the sum of balance and overdraft and amount exceeds would be displayed. Now let's say that the account holder wants to withdraw 40. Our condition becomes not true, hence else executes. Here the condition becomes true, the message collect cash gets displayed and the balance gets updated. We can do the same for the rest of the procedures as well. Why don't you try it yourself and let me know in the comment what happens. Always remember to use a pencil first when making the program so that changes can be made. And second, use the blank pages for your rough sketch. And after completing the program, do try to run it once using dry run to see if your program works right. That's all for now. If you like the video, don't forget to press that like button to show your support and letting your friends know as well. Peace out. I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section. That's all for now. Peace out.